No gold is not in her. She's a dime.
Welcome to another exciting edition of $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Paperguy,
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
and today we're going to talk about probably one of the most valuable lessons that we're ever going to teach you. And pretty much it can be summed up in one sentence. Buying is easy. And what we mean by that is it's real easy to buy. You went to Ohio recently and bought some stuff, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
How many items did you buy? Roughly.
Close to 100,000.
How many items have you sold so far?
25.
So we're at 99,975 more items to sell. How hard was it to buy those?
Not hard at all.
How hard is it going to be to sell all of those?
Very hard.
Yep. Buying's the easy part. And you'll always be able to get another deal. You will. And I guess that kind of leads into today's video, which is don't buy work. And I'll give you a perfect example. I was at an auction the other day, and they had some 1887 newspapers. Neat little local papers type deal, 8 pages each, advertising, all that sort of thing. I figure I probably could list them for $15 to $20 each. When everything gets said and done, I probably could sell a bunch of them at $10 each. The bid was about $2 a piece, two and a quarter a piece, something around like that. I probably could have gotten them for about $2.50 a piece. They're neat items. A lot of people would sit there and look, especially anybody that comes from the regular, as opposed to the secondhand trade, comes from the regular trade. I mean, you used to have a diamond account, I believe. What were you paying? 50, 60 cents
It was
on
over
the dollar.
yeah, 60, 75 cents maybe.
60, 65, 70%. That's kind of what you do when you're not in the secondhand trade. So somebody coming from a trade like that would look at it and go, wow, you're paying 25 cents and selling it for $1. You're doing great. I passed on it.
Right.
And one of the main reasons why would be I'd be getting 71 of them in. And in order to maximize my money on them, I've got to go through each one. And I've got to find the good content. And maybe one of them, I don't know my history offhand. You probably, nothing personally, you probably don't know your 1887 history offhand either. But, maybe Japan and China had a skirmish at that point. Maybe somebody famous died at that point. Maybe, I have no idea, the first home run by some Hall of Famer at that point. Who knows? Those might be in there. But you've got to go through 71 papers, 8 pages each, to find the reason to list them. And granted, it could really pay off. I mean, you find something really, really neat in there. Mm-hmm. You could sit there and you could list it for, $100, $200. It could very well pay off. But that's an awful lot of work. And 1887 newspapers, the kids today, do you think they'd rather have the hot new video game or an 1887 newspaper?
No question.
Exactly. Well, the smart ones want the newspapers, but unfortunately most of them don't want that.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when does the price outweigh the work? Meaning, how low could you have bought them for? If you would have said, hey, I'm buying them, it's worth the work.
At 71 items, if I'd gotten them for $50, I could take them because I'm at 70 cents a piece, and I could put them over in the corner, and I don't really feel any pressure to list them.
Right.
And at that point, I'm into them cheap enough that let's just say that I stuck them off into the corner, and I kept tripping over the box, which is usually how things end up getting listed. You get upset because you trip over the box for the 18th time, and you say, what is in this stupid box? And you open it up, and you've got the 71 newspapers from, whatever, Chi-Line, New York. At that point, I want them out of here. Mm-hmm. I list them. Take a couple of pictures of them, list, hey, 71, great content, run through a couple of them and say, oh, it's got this story, this story, this story, hey, well, the auto racing wouldn't be back then, horse race story, this story, that story, and you list them all and you sell them out for, oh, well, they're worth $3 to $5 each in lots, so I'll list them at $250. Mm-hmm. And you're happy when they sell for $150 at that point. It's not maximizing your money, but that's cheap enough that you can sit there and sit on them for a while till that magical day. Mm-hmm. When we all run out of inventory, and we can sit down and list every item that we have with the proper care that it needs to maximize the money. And we were talking before the program, you recently ran into a similar type deal, not 1887, but 1987.
Yeah. A couple, their son had passed away, and he had a comic collection. I think he used to come to my store as well, so that's how they knew me. And it was in a storage unit. It was around 6,000 to 7,000 comics, all bagged and boarded, but it was from the last 10, 15 years worth maybe, and nothing great in there, but they wanted $1 a piece, which ended up being $7,500 or something like that. And a long term might be a good deal, I'm sure, but just a lot of work, and it's sitting in a corner for a long time for me to come up. I did make them a lower offer I thought was fair, but they were going to weigh up their options and check around other places.
Yeah, and that's if you've got walk-in comic people,
Right.
it's great because it's already bagged and boarded. I mean, and I don't know what the cover price on the comics was at the time. What, $3-4 a piece?
Yeah, at least $3 to $4. Yeah.
Yeah, so he probably spent $20,000 accumulating that collection. So logically, paying $7,000 on it is a good deal. And there probably were. I mean, obviously, I know we all like to look things up. I'm fairly sure you weren't staying in a storage unit with your phone looking up 7,500 different comics.
No.
You only got to 7,200, and they finally said, "Look, it's getting dark out here."
Yeah.
So there's probably some $20, $30 comics in there as you go through them. But it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Great, you find $25, $20 comics, you're at $500 back. You've still got a lot of stuff left over.
Yeah.
It's going to take a long time to list. It's going to take a long time to sell. And another one of the big issues with that kind of deal, you've got a different problem with those comics than you do with the 1887 newspapers. The 1887 newspapers, the problem you have is there are not a lot of demand for them. There might be a lot of demand for, Moon Knight number 17. There might be a lot of people working on Moon Knight collections, but what's the problem?
Very common.
There's a lot of them out there. I could probably go on and find 12 different ones. And so
Right.
if they're very common and they're newer, so you can't really compete on condition. It's not like an older item and you can say, hey, mine's pristine, everybody else is dog-eared, mine's pristine. No, they're all pristine essentially at this point from 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
So what can you compete on? You can compete on price.
Yeah, and then you're losing there.
Yeah, how far down can you possibly go, and how fast is it going to sell? Hey, this guy that's working on his basement has no employees and doesn't know what he's doing, is charging not me, I don't have that comic. Is charging $4.20. Your overhead's a lot higher. You
Yeah.
can't beat him on
No.
price. You cannot charge $4 on
No,
it.
no shot.
And even if you could, and you make 10 cents, how quickly is it going to sell?
No, it's not.
It's just not a good deal for us at the situation. Now, if you've got a comic book store and you've got 20,000 comic books listed on eBay, could be a wonderful buy because people are coming to your shop to,
Right.
coming to your shop to buy. They're coming to your eBay store to buy comics. You and I, comics are such a small part. Nobody is searching us out looking for comics.
Right.
They're searching you out looking for magazines. They're searching me out looking for older magazines
Sure.
and ephemera.
Yep.
We're not known for comics.
Yeah, you could lug them to a show. I'm sure they'd siphon through them and spend hundreds of dollars. But again, you're lugging them to the show, lugging them back, and more work.
And bringing up your question from earlier, you did make a counter offer.
Yes.
A lot of people will make counter offers in that case, and I've seen the results of those counter offers when I go to the flea markets, and you've got the person out there with the comics, newer comics, bagged and bordered for $1 a piece. They probably paid $0.25 a piece.
Right.
What they do is they bring them home, they go through a box, take out what's good, go through a second box, take out what's good, bring the rest of them to the, bring those two boxes to the flea market at $1 a piece. They'll make you a deal on the whole box because they know they have $0.25 piece into them.
Right.
Next week, they do the same thing with the next couple. I mean, it's a great way to get rid of stuff. It's a great way if you're a collector and you're at that flea market to get some great buys. And obviously, they don't search everything. They don't know everything. They're not going to sit there with their phone with 600 comics in 2 boxes and
Right.
pick out every good one. They're going to miss some good things. So it's a wonderful opportunity. But even let's say you did schlep them down to the show, you're paying $1 a piece.
Oh yeah.
You put them out for $2 a piece, you're not going to sell that many of them.
right.
And what are most people going to do when they start going through them? Hey, can you make me a deal?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
$2 a piece. What if I take 15? That's 30. Can I have them for 25? So all of a sudden, by the time you pay your table, the time you do all that, you're not making anything for your time. So I guess today's lesson is don't fall in love with things to buy. You're always going to find something else to buy. And if it's a mediocre deal, which both of these deals are wonderful items, but the prices made them mediocre deals.
Right.
If you can absolutely get them dirt cheap, buy them because you'll figure out a way to sell them at some point. Even if I was in on those comics and I bought them at a dime a piece, if I came to you and tried to sell them to you for $0.25 a piece, you might try to talk me down to 20 cents each, but you're going to take them all off my hands.
Yep.
So I've got a way that I can flip them out at that. Now, if I paid $1 a piece and come to you and say, Chuck, I want to make a little bit of money. I paid $1 a piece. You're going to tell me to go pound salt, and well, you should, because there's no way for you to make money on it.
And you got to store them too. You know, someone that doesn't, you know, if they're working out of their house, you got 30 long boxes now where you put them in your garage. They can get damp, wet, you know. So,
Yep.
you know,
Let alone all of the labor. I mean, roughly this was what, half hour, 45 minutes away. So you have an hour and a half into the travel out there.
Right.
If you had done the deal, then you've got to load the vehicle up. Were you prepared to pick it all up that day, or would you have had to do a second trip?
I had my truck, so I would have been able to if I worked the deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
brought the money with me and a check just in case, and but yeah, no dice.
yeah. So you bring it all back. Now you've got to unload it all, which you would sucker me into doing before a video, and you know, just a lot of work involved as well. So don't overpay for things just to have them. Don't buy gigantic lots if the price is mediocre, because you're never going to get around to listing it all. And every one of us has the bug. We always want to buy the new shiny thing is the wonderful thing, and we forget about all the old stuff we have sitting back. We've got a whole garage full of old stuff. You got a whole warehouse full of old stuff
Yep.
that we just have never gotten around to listing. So the buying's the easy part. Keep that in the back of your head. You're standing out at a sale. You're standing out at an estate sale. You're standing out at a house call. You're standing out at a flea market. You've got the money in your pocket. You're the boss. Cash is king. Don't buy because you have to buy. Walk away. Do not be afraid to walk away. And let me ask you another question. You didn't get the call back in the comics, but I'm sure there have been a number of times in the past where you've had deals that the price was a little bit too high and you walked away. And you got a call back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, sure.
And at that point, they were willing to sell to you at your offer or slightly above your offer.
Right, yeah. Always negotiate, yeah.
Yep. So cash is king. Buying is easy. See you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.